Last week I went on vacation and I was able to spend a whole day just kind of by myself with my Bible and with God and spent some time in prayer. And during that time, I started a study of the book of Galatians. I'm interested in that because I don't feel like I know Galatians as well as some other books, and so I wanted to dig into it some more. So I wanted to share with you guys in Alpine Daily over the next few Tuesdays some of my thoughts and things that I've been learning in the book of Galatians. And the theme of chapter 1 is that the gospel really matters. Let's take a look at some verses here. Starting in verse 6, he says, "I'm astonished you are so quickly deserting the one who called you to live in the grace of Christ and are turning to a different gospel, which is no gospel at all. Evidently, some people are throwing you into confusion, trying to pervert the gospel of Christ. But even if we or an angel from heaven should preach a gospel other than the one we preach to you, let them be under God's curse." Wow, that's pretty powerful language. As we've already said, so now I say again, if anybody's preaching to you a gospel other than what you accepted, let them be under God's curse. So he says it twice for effect. He says this powerful thing. It's like, wow, God would actually curse somebody for teaching something different than what Paul delivered. Now, you'll notice he uses the word gospel a whole bunch of times in there, so we really ought to ask ourselves, what is the gospel? The word itself means good news. What is God's good news message for us? It's about God saving us. And how does God save us? How can we be right with Him? And it's about grace, God's favor toward us alone, received on our part by faith alone, not by works, not by our merit, in Christ alone, not in church or some other system, but grace, faith, Christ, those are the elements of the gospel. He says, this is what we taught you, this is what you received, and he says, it really matters. Now, why does it matter so much? To the point that he would say, if you're adopting any other approach to God, then you're really under God's curse. That's how much it matters. Well, a couple of thoughts on that is because any other approach denies God all of the glory for salvation. It's all God. He initiates it. He's the one who completes it. He's the one who does everything we need to be right with Him. And all these approaches that focus on our righteousness or our works end up taking glory away from God and putting it on us. And the other reason this matters so much is that no other approach can save us or make us right with God. Anything that is a false gospel is just giving people false hope that they're not going to be saved in the end unless they adopt God's method and God's ways. And so the Apostle Paul speaks vehemently, just powerfully to say, this message is the only message that you can preach, that you can adopt and still be right with God. So I want to encourage you to think about that and pray about today. And I think that gives us a lot of reason to have gratitude for God as we think about His unconditional grace in our lives. And you might want to stop and take a minute to ask God to show you any ways that any good works or any self-motivation might have crept into your relationship with Him. But stop and give Him some thanks that our salvation is all about Him and not about ourselves. God bless you today. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for checking in to Alpine Daily.